Maligayang pagdiriwang ng mga mag-aaral ng College 10 sa pagtatapos at pagkilala sa mga karangalang nakamit sa taong 2020.
欢迎来到学院时毕业典礼，大家一起庆祝2020届的成就。
Bienvenidos a la ceremonia de graduación del College 10, celebrando los logros de la clase 2020.
به مراسم فارغ التحصیل کلاس 2020 دانشکده دهم خوش آمدید.
Welcome to the College 10 Commencement ceremony, celebrating the achievements of the class of 2020.
Welcome to the College 10 Commencement ceremony for the class of 2020. My name is Flora Liu, and I'm the Provost of College 10. While we cannot be physically together to celebrate this momentous occasion, in our hearts today, we are all among the redwoods of the stunning UCSC campus. I'd like to begin by situating us into this place and by acknowledging that the land upon which the university is built is the traditional and unceded territory of the UP tribe of the Awaswas Nation. Today, these lands are represented by the Amamutsan tribal band, who are the descendants of the Awaswas and Mutsun nations whose ancestors were taken to Mission Santa Cruz and Mission San Juan Bautista during Spanish colonization of the Central Coast. Today, the Amamutsan are working hard to fulfill their obligation to the Creator to care for and steward Mother Earth and all living things through relearning efforts and the Amamutsan Land Trust. This message, carefully crafted by the Amamutsan tribal band, speaks of the ruptures of ways of life and efforts to find forms of healing that emerge from our values and the relationships that sustain us. In these past months, the consistency and normalcy of our lives have been ruptured. COVID-19 has exposed many iniquities and injustices in our society, revealing a highly uneven terrain of precarity and suffering. As a professor of environmental studies, I think about the connections between such zoonotic diseases and habitat change, agro-industrial food systems, and human-wildlife interactions. I think about the disproportionate burden of the pandemic in low-income and people of color communities who are rendered more vulnerable to the pandemic because of environmental and social injustice. In a COVID-19 world, universities must meet the challenge by training students differently. This means thinking beyond disciplinary boundaries, incorporating the concerns of community members, translating theory to practice and knowledge to action, and honing the kinds of 21st century skills critical to positive change agents. UCSC is committed to providing our undergraduates with transformative and personalized educational experiences, something epitomized by our system of 10 colleges that each provide a unique learning and living community within the larger university. Founded in 2002, College 10 is the youngest of the colleges. Our theme is social justice and community, which is purposefully addressed in the variety of courses and co-curricular programming we design. Social justice and community are two very powerful ideas that we bring to life through our programs, such as the Practical Activism Conference, Expressive Arts for Social Justice, Multicultural Community Weekend, Social Justice Issues Workshop, and many more programs. At College 10, students initiate discussions about what social justice and community mean to them, and our programs support deep reflection and purposeful action to these important concepts. Graduates, I am hopeful for the future because of you. In this time of rupture, you see the possibilities for structural change and have the courage to advocate for a society that is more equitable, more inclusive, and more sustainable. I know that I speak for your families and communities when I express how proud we are of you and what you have accomplished. Congratulations. I'm delighted to introduce our first student speaker for College 10, Jennifer Cecilia Perez Lopez. Jennifer is graduating with a double major in intensive psychology and sociology. She has been a resident assistant, practical activism code lead, and activities office assistant. She dedicates her accomplishment to her family, who have continuously supported and inspired her. She is unapologetically undocumented and will be continuing with her education as a doctoral student in sociology at the University of California, Irvine.
Hello, faculty, staff, family, friends, and graduates, and welcome to the College 10 Commencement. I am honored to be a speaker for today as we celebrate our graduating class of 2020. I am a Central American first-generation queer undocumented student. I am a daughter of a house cleaner and a contractor. My mother is attending community college, and my father has started his own business. My ability to have reached this milestone is only possible through their sacrifices, and for that I honor and thank them every day. Throughout all of my life, my family has come first, and this has presented itself as a challenge and an advantage. From my first day at UC Santa Cruz, I struggled to transition from an interdependent mindset to the harsh, independent structure of higher education. I never understood what this meant or how it affected me until I met my first mentor, Dr. Rebecca Covarrubias, the first woman of color professor I had. Her mentorship and research motivated me to continue higher education when I was feeling discouraged or uncertain. One aspect of her research deals with the issue of cultural mismatch in the American system of higher education. For middle-class families, college is a natural step in the life plan, and an ultimate expression of independence where students leave home, follow their own journey, and find their voice. These independent norms are institutionalized through assumptions and processes that emphasize individualism, such as personal choice, self-expression, and individual development. So there's a close match that supports academic success for these independently minded students. Students like me from working class backgrounds and the first in their families to go to college often come from contexts that emphasize interdependence. This means an emphasis on adjusting and responding to others' needs, connecting with others, and being a part of a community. So when university tells the students to do your own thing, it can be sending a message that doesn't resonate to students like me. The expectations for students to separate from family obligations and pursue our own independent goals didn't sit right with me. I grew up in a household of 6 where there are constant laughs, arguments, and most importantly, support. I was surrounded by the encouraging words of my mother and the reassuring hugs from my sister and guidance from my community. I wasn't prepared to feel the discomfort, isolation, or confusion that arises when you start college. I didn't want to stand out or pursue individual freedom like the university promoted. I just wanted to be the first in my family to graduate while maintaining our connection. Todo lo que fui, soy, y seré es gracias a mi familia. As someone who saw interconnection, I found a solid community at College 10, specifically within our theme of social justice and community, values that are truly enacted instead of just being invoked. At College 10, students are engaged as members of a collective. We motivate each other, work collaboratively in groups, follow in the footsteps of our peer leaders, and really listen to and appreciate opinions and experiences of others. From our RAs to our core class, we were taught what it meant to be inclusive and accepting of others. I learned about class division, capitalism, environmental justice in and out of the classroom. I joined Multicultural Weekend and attended twice because of the connections I formed. Multicultural Weekend was the first event held by College 10 that I engaged in. I formed deep connections with other College 10 students, holding conversations on privilege, social equity, and our own identities. Conversations that in other contexts would have been uncomfortable. But in MCW, I felt safe and encouraged to speak about my background. This snowballed into me joining the Practical Activism Conference, being a workshop leader, and then having the honor to co-lead the conference. PAC opened my eyes to different forms of activism and gave me the power to spread knowledge in our community. I taught the College 10 Social Justice Workshop class, providing me a platform to encourage fellow students to engage with critical subjects and look within themselves to enact change. Many of us found our community through athletics, organizations, or even just a shared dislike of a class. We found it through strikes and picket lines. We found a community fighting for what we deserved, fighting for our UAW workers, a graduate student cost of living adjustment, affordable housing, and food security, fighting for Black students, undocumented students, marginalized students, Native students who are hurt by just existing in higher education designed to exclude them. As we continue to fight for our communities, especially in these trying times, as our most vulnerable populations are put at risk. We know that this pandemic has disproportionately affected the poor, indigenous, and people of color. We know that workers are facing possible choices, akin to economic blackmail between their livelihoods and their health, including the exploitation of undocumented agricultural workers who are deemed essential labor but are treated as expendable. We will continue to strive towards the values of social justice and community. As we leave this institution, we have our mentors, our friends, and our support system in College 10 to thank for this growth. This won't be the last time we will be challenged, but let's take all the love, strength, and passion we've learned here onto the next chapter of our lives. For students who are the first to graduate college, this isn't just a stepping stone to us. It is the culmination of generations of sacrifice that our families have dreamed of us achieving. Our graduation isn't just for us. It's for our parents, it's for our community, it's for our younger and older siblings. It's a chance to celebrate one another. But let's not forget, we have always been valid, smart, and accomplished. A degree does not make us better, but what we have learned throughout the way in UC Santa Cruz is priceless. Class of 2020, this is not how we imagined our graduation, but it does not take away from our accomplishments. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you for growing, learning, and struggling with me. You have been an immense source of inspiration in this journey. While we are all uncertain of our futures, we must reflect. Reflect on the small, big, frustrating, and hopefully happy moments we've experienced at UC Santa Cruz. We must remind ourselves, yes, we really did that. Because truly, if my younger self saw who I was today, she'd probably faint from happiness. I hope you get that feeling too. Thank you. Congratulations, class of 2020. We did it!
Our second College 10 student address is by Jonathan Coelho, who is graduating with a double major in legal studies and politics. Jonathan served as co-lead for the 2018 and 2019 Practical Activism Conferences, was a resident assistant for the College 10 Apartments, and organized for Philippine Liberation with Anakbayan, Santa Cruz. In addition, he taught 2 courses, a Critical Race and Ethnic Studies course on Philippine history, and College 10's Social Justice Issues Workshop.
Hello to all my fellow graduates, friends, family, faculty, and staff. My name is Jonathan Coelho, and I am honored to help speak on behalf of my graduating class to celebrate our monumental accomplishment. Now, before I get into it, I especially want to give recognition to all the students of color, Indigenous and Native folk, transfer and international students, low-income, femme-identified, first-generation, queer and trans folk, student workers, folks with disabilities, immigrant and undocumented folks, and students dealing with or who have dealt with mental health issues, housing and or food insecurity, and learning disabilities. College is a feat in and of itself, and you did it despite many odds being against you. We are the graduating class of 2020. You know, they say that hindsight is 2020, so I wanted to take this time to reflect on some of the events that have happened over the last 4 years here at UCSC and College 10. First year, fall of 2016. Needless to say, we all anticipated our first year would require a steep learning curve, but coming in as the wide-eyed and eager frosh that we were ready for the road ahead. We're adults. We're finally on our own. We're ready for a new chapter in our life. We got our stuff together, and spoiler alert, no we didn't. Now, I was admitted to UCSC as a biology major, and 1 week into my first quarter, I walked out of my calculus class and never looked back. 2 days into my first quarter, and I already switched my major. It was then that I realized that this was undoubtedly going to be a wild ride. And I'm proud to say today that I did end up finding a major that fit both my interests and passions, and I'll finally be graduating with a degree in both politics and legal studies. Studying politics during these last 4 years has not been as dry as one may think. In fact, these are quite extraordinary times to be studying politics. A couple of months into our first quarter, our country watched the results of the 2016 presidential election unfold. Not only was our 4-year terms as undergraduates just beginning, but so was the term of a controversial president whose infamous tweets and platforms threatened the existence and identities of many students at this university. And this event sparked political activation across the entire university, and as a first year, I realized that College 10's values of social justice and community became not only relevant, but essential. And later that year, the African Black Student Alliance and allies reclaimed Kerr Hall, demanding guaranteed housing for African, Black, and Caribbean identified students, and mandatory diversity competency training for all students. During our second and third years, university workers represented by the union AFSCME were fighting for a livable contract, a struggle that has dominated our campus climate to this day. Now, I think it is necessary when discussing these historical issues that we draw the immediate connections to our larger systemic issue of students and workers facing similar conditions of discrimination, housing and food insecurity, which have all yet to be adequately addressed by the university. And finally came senior year, the year we'd all been waiting for, a year that was to be unforgettable, and boy, will we never forget it. So much has happened this year alone, it feels like a 4-year college term in and of itself. In the fall of 2019, our TAs went on a grading strike for a cost of living adjustment so that they would be able to live and meet their basic needs in one of the most expensive cities to live in. That struggle continued into the winter quarter, where our campus was shut down on several occasions due to student and community power. And this event sparked solidarity and similar movements across the entire UC system and country. And I can't forget the infamous series of power outages that casted shadows on our fall and winter quarters. And during the last few weeks of winter quarter 2020, our university paused all in-person instruction due to COVID-19, and we just finished our final quarter socially distanced and learning entirely via Zoom. So much was taken from us. The ability to say our official goodbyes, various graduate celebration and recognition ceremonies were canceled, and we wouldn't be able to walk across the stage. The culmination of 4 years of hard work, many all-nighters with friends, countless yerba mates later, and the dreams of celebration commemorating an even longer, nearly 2-decade-long educational journey thwarted. And that, more or less, leads us to where we are here today, June 14th, 2020, our long-awaited commencement date. My fellow graduates, we face conditions unlike any other graduating class before us. So much uncertainty lies ahead. Many of us are concerned about entering one of the worst job markets in decades. Some of us are nervous to return back to homes different than the way we left them. And many of us are terrified to, dare I say it, pay off our student loans, myself included. And most of us are just scared that we need to have all of our stuff together. It took me 4 years to learn that it's okay not to have our life together. We don't need all the answers right now. Because life isn't an exam that we need to cram for. Life isn't an essay prompt that we need to hit all the buzzwords. Life is a series of ups and downs. It is complex and ever-changing, that no grade or any transcript could ever measure. And it is without a doubt that we were able to make it through those times by doing so together as a community. Communities that we have found within College 10, whether in our dorms, at Multicultural Weekend, and the Practical Activism Conference, or communities we found within campus orgs, or forged through collective action fighting alongside AFSCME workers and students for better conditions and visibility on campus. These were communities where we felt safe, healed, challenged, and that we belonged. It is with that same commitment and trust in community that I know we will get through this together. I urge you all to find those communities wherever you may go outside of UCSC and help create them where they don't yet exist. This past summer, I took a trip to my family's homeland of the Philippines for the first time. And on this trip, I integrated with various communities across the islands, including the urban and working poor, youth and students, peasant farmers, and unions, to experience their day-to-day lives and conditions. This trip was full of so many lessons and insights, and I wanted to share one with you all here today. It is the Tagalog saying, para kanino, which roughly translates to, for whom in English. For whom do we wake up for in the morning? For whom are we getting these degrees? And for whom do we want to leave the world a better place? It's important we put into practice repeatedly asking ourselves these questions of why and for whom before we make any life decision or commit our energy to something. Our actions do not happen in a vacuum. Our actions impact more people than we will ever know. We are in some of the most trying times, but we are also entering a very exciting and privileged time in our lives as college graduates. The world is going to be very different than when we first entered college. but we are also very different people than when we first moved in. And as we enter the real world, we have the power to help reimagine and reshape it for the better. Together, as a community, one day at a time. Thank you all for being here today. And lastly, thank you and congratulations to the class of 2020. We did it.
Our keynote speaker is Associate Professor of Anthropology, Mayanthi Fernando. Professor Fernando is a scholar of religion, post-coloniality, gender and sexuality, political pluralism, and human-non-human entanglements. She earned her BA from Harvard University and her MA and PhD from the University of Chicago. A recipient of the prestigious School of Advanced Research Weatherhead Fellowship, Professor Fernando joined the faculty of UCSC in 2008. She directs the Center for Cultural Studies, a vibrant space of intellectual exchange that spans different disciplines and divisions. She's an outstanding teacher and mentor for students, winning the Division of Social Sciences Golden Apple Award in 2016.
Hi everyone, my name is Mayanthi Fernando. I teach in the anthropology department, and next year I will be the interim provost of colleges 9 and 10 when your fabulous provost Flora Liu is on sabbatical. I first want to congratulate the class of 2020 of College 9 and College 10. I know that you're graduating into some very strange times. I wish that we were doing an in-person commencement. I wish that things were normal. But unfortunately, we have to make do with what we have, and I'm giving my commencement keynote from my garden. So forgive the ambient noise. There will be bird sounds, possibly animal sounds, but this is what we're living with now. I began the year with a College 9 plenary for first years in the college where I told a story about my mother, so I thought I would end the year with another story about her. This is a story within a story, though. When I was a little girl, my mother used to tell me a story about a great king who lived in a grand kingdom and had 3 daughters. One day he asked his daughters how much they loved him. The first daughter said, "Father, I love you as much as all the gold in your kingdom," and the king was satisfied. The second daughter said, "I love you as much as all the silver in the kingdom," and the king was satisfied. The third daughter thought a little bit and said, "Father, I love you as much as meat loves salt." The king did not understand this answer. In fact, it is a very strange answer, and it seemed utterly meaningless to compare love to salt rather than to gold and silver. And the king, thinking that his daughter either didn't love him or wasn't taking the question seriously, banished this third daughter. She went into the woods for a while, then came back, and unbeknownst to the king, took a job as a dishwasher in the royal court's kitchen, making her way up over the years to the position of head cook. One day the king demanded a royal feast, and the third daughter cooked everything as the royal court's cook. The king began to eat his meat, but it was tasteless. He demanded to know what was going on. At that point, the cook came out and told the king that all the meat had been prepared without salt. The king suddenly realized that the cook standing in front of him was his daughter, and he realized too what she had meant when she told him many years earlier that she loved him as much as meat loves salt. Now, this is a totally bizarre story, and I never really understood it as a child when my mother would tell it to me. But it suddenly came back to me a few weeks ago when I was out buying salt for my mom. Because of the pandemic and because she's elderly, she can't go out, and so I do her shopping for her. And I was suddenly struck by how my love for her isn't demonstrated in grand gestures, but in small ones, like going to the grocery store to buy her salt. Most commencement speeches are about how graduates will go out in the world and be great, all the great things you'll do, about how you'll make your communities and your country great. These are strange times, though, and perhaps a time to reflect on what greatness is, what it means to be great. I still don't fully understand the story about salt and meat, but I think it calls us to realize that greatness, that richness, lies in the small and the mundane and the humble, not in gold and silver, but in salt. I'm a teacher, so I want to use that story as a kind of classroom exercise. I have 3 takeaways from that story that I want to share with you, and also 3 questions that I want you to think about. Consider it your homework for the future. My first takeaway It's the small things we do that make us who we are. It's the small ways you treat yourself and the way you treat others, your parents, siblings, your friends, strangers, birds and animals and plants. The small, ordinary acts of love and kindness and generosity that make you who you are, that make you the best that you can be. So I want to ask you, what are the small acts through which you will be great in the world to come? The second takeaway. It is through these small acts that we also make our worlds and our communities better places to live for all. It is salt, after all, that makes meat great. It's the thousands of small things that create the web of life, that connect us to each other. In pandemic times like these, it's wearing a mask not just to protect yourself, but to protect those around you, especially those more vulnerable than you. A community, whether it's local or global, is created and sustained by infinite small acts of care and generosity, ordinary ways in which we come together, protect each other, work to make each other and our communities great. So I ask you, what are the small things that you can do to make your world, the world to come, a better, more livable, more just place for all? Third, and finally, I take from that strange story the fact that ultimately salt is worth more than gold or silver, that richness lies in the small things, the humble things. After all, gold and silver can buy you all the meat in the world, but it will be inedible without salt. It is salt that is essential to living, not gold and silver. In fact, the English word salary is derived from the Latin term salarium, which referred to the allowance given to soldiers in the Roman army to buy salt, considered an essential commodity. Sal means salt, hence salarium and eventually salary. The pandemic has made us all think about what is essential to us, about essential workers. And we've come to realize, I think, that it's doctors and nurses, teachers and janitors, electricians and plumbers, soup kitchen operators and farm workers who hold our worlds together. So I ask you, as you go forth in the world, how can you be essential to your community, to the world? This is a classroom exercise, so I'll recap the 3 questions I've just asked you to think about. First, what are the small acts through which you will be great in the world to come? Second, what are the small things that you can do to make your world, the world to come, a better, more livable, more just place for all? And third, as you go forth in the world, how can you be essential to your community, to the world? As you think about these questions, I hope you'll think about the story that my mother, who was also a teacher, the story that my mother used to tell me as a child about salt, that small, unpretentious little crystal that is so important to life. And I hope you'll remember that it is in the small, not in the grand gestures of gold and silver, but in the ordinary, humble, small gesture of salt. It is in the small that we make ourselves great, that we make each other great, and that we make the world great and good and just. Congratulations to all of you. Go forth and be great.
Nadine Abu-Amari. Irma Lizeth Adami Pacheco. Charlin T. Agbayani. Salani Agarwal. Rabiha Ahmed. Quinlan C. Alexander. Manal M. Almakay. Devin Natalia Ampudia. Kevin George Angelis. Angelica Mia Anacito. Alexander Matthew Archibald. Jose L. Aravalo Chagola. Kathia Alejandra Arias Ramirez. Ramon Ayala, Siri Bandaro, Parskevi Bernard,
Daniel Barrientos Castaneda,
Christian Lyle Vergaro Bartido, Taylor Ann Bartosh, Cindy Karina Bautista, Kyle N. Bennett, Maya L. Bemke, Henry Joseph Bordeaux, Nigel Angelo Borromeo, Irina A. Borrell, Sonora Bravo, Sarah Maureen Burrows, Samantha Cabrera, Pai Ling Kai, Damaris Caraccio, Brett Cariaga, Monica Grace Carrasco, Estella Carrion, Christian Carrillo Castillo, Catalina Castro, Kimberly Castro, Ariana P. Cazares, Stephanie Chacon,
Harjeet Chahal,
Emma Champion, Sin Ying Chan, Diana Josefina Chavez, Liliana Chavez Flores, Denise Chen, Guanshuan Chen, Yvonne Chen, Christopher Robert Cheney, Oliver W. Chang, Vivian Cho, Noah Madden Chowdhury, Sydney Elizabeth Tudor Chuck, Milton Chung,
Jonathan Coelho,
Maria Cordova, Vishal Damajapurapu,
Ryan Darling,
Zachary Nash Davis, Vanessa Delator, Maris Rebecca Degener, Danielle Therese Del Rosario, Vanessa DeFranco Fernandez, Robert Edward Diaz, Andrew Doan, Erin Marie Donahue, Vivian Duong, Sajal P. Ejonkar, Isabella Cecilia Elmore, Madeline Enmark, Leif Erickson, Diana Lakshmi Shulin Etwaru, Babak Faraman, Zev Benjamin Blumberg Fellenbaum, Adam S. Files, Eric J. Flores, Sean Michael Franz, Cindy Gao, Yutong Gao, Lillian Gardner, Hamanshu Gautam, Karina Gavino, Madison Gibson, Xiaowei Gu, Bianca Anissa Guerrero, Zijing Gu, Bridget Taylor Hansen, McKenna Kai Harden, Brandon Tyler Hayami, Lauren Michelle Hernandez, Melody Star Hernandez, Melissa Michelle Herrera, Autumn Hill, Emily Ho, Brendan Huang, Howard Hasaya, Andy Huang, Henry Chia Huang, Sherry J. Huang, Tom Huang,
Audrey Huerta,
Donald Hui, Ted Huang,
Yaslin Denise Jacobo,
Allison Jordan, Kimbra Anissa Juarez, Jennifer Kai, Razika Kale, Karen Cam, Sophia H. Kang,
Sarab Carmarker,
Shaiho Katagiri, Wei Hao Ki. Emily Grace Keschner. Ashley Hyunju Kim.
Sabina King.
Michaela Ann Aruda Konafal. Shrija Kanjarli.
Sophia Lizette Cooner.
Sophie Julianne Koo. Manu R. Kumar. Thomas Kurzawinski. Hayuk Jin Kwan. Billy Kwan Young Kwang. Jessica La. Kenya K. Lamb. Carter Leskowski. Matilda G. Lau. Christina Lee Tai Hang. Annette Nok Lee. Jennifer A. Lee. Cameron Leach. Andrew Alexander Leamy. Heidi Lee. Jamie Yanholm Lee. Jocelyn Lee. Justin Darrow Lee. Raymond Lee. Trevor Lee. Max Lennon. Carol Lai. Olympia Lai. Stephen Lai. Christine Liang. Diane Liang. Lily Liang. Megan Liebig. Kevin Lim. Christine Lin. Caitlin Lin. Fernando Jose Lopez. Cynthia Liu. Dennis Liu. Courtney Lindsay Ma.
Sean McNaughton.
Nicole Eva Mann. Tejas Manjanath. Kiani Keisha C. Marchin. Kristen Clarice Supnet Mauricio. Mary Rose McNeil. Delaney Romero Medina. Ashley E. Melgoza, Dominique Ann Pegdacan Mendoza, Kate Coho Miller, Riley Miner, Nanetto Luz Majaro, Ariana Mora, Ashley Nicole Morales, Ciara Yarlex Moreno, Shealtiel Mulder, David Joseph Murray, Krishnan Madden Nair, Sarah Nasser, Valerie Jean Neal, David Hung Nyo, Bakan Nguyen, Dakota Jane Nguyen, Johnny Nguyen, Michael Nguyen, Nam Nguyen, Christian Akazaki, Cleo Asheroff, Louisa Yu, Megan Overbay, Joshua D. Palmer, Jessica Yingshan Pan, Jungwon Park, Thanet Parkinvincha, Taimesh Patel, Arvind K. Patnam, Jennifer Cecilia Perez Lopez, Natalie Rose Petrosian, Helen Pham, Michelle Vanan Pham, Philip Nguyen Phan, Becky L. Phan, Kobe Young Pho, Michelle Fu, Christine Marie Pia, Irene E. Panetta, Sumya Pula, Yendrik Tashinari Porras, Angela Quach, Andres Cazada Galvin, Rodrigo Ramos, Mano Ranawiri, Srinivasan Rangarajan, Emily Ridner, Morella Rivera Velasquez, Ariana Rodriguez, Monica Marie Rosales, Eric J. Rose, Alejandra B. Ruiz, Fui Safong, Amanda Nicole Sanchez, Anthony Alfredo Sanchez, Mario Santos, Gautam Sarkar, Michael Saucedo, Sonia Carol Schendel, Aditya Siegel, Nicholas Shack, Sandhya Shankar, Alex Shi,
Cameron Shigaya,
Sophia Stengoltz, Caitlin Rose Simmons, Prithvi Singh, Catherine Ciordia, Camille Diona de Luna Cioras, Jingzhao Zhang, Asia Stevens, Aaron Marquez Sabito, Joshua Tai, Nicholas Jubilee Tai, Lawrence Tam, Sean Tan, Carolyn Joyce Tang, Catherine Tellez, Sydney Tinker Quinn, Lila Zaitali Torres Alvarez, Miana Alina Yu Trainer, Kathy Tram, Kevin Tram, Justine Vivan Tran, Kong Vin Tran, Michael Huang Kim Tran, Martin Trin, Shirley Trin, Kirby Didier Tsai, Angie Wing Yi Si, Justin K. Tsuchiyama, Elliot Tu, Chantel Grace Twazan, Diego Armando Llerena, Angelica Virginia Uribe, Maulin Vager, Elena Valencia.
Jenny Valenzo.
Eduardo Valenzuela Rodriguez. Miranda Calista Vasquez. Ryan Joseph Venegan. Norma Montserrat Villarreal. Daniel Wang. Hofan Wang. Justin Wang. Wang. Wesley Wang. Sophia Williams. Karen Mimi Wong. Samantha Wong. David Woodfin. Chase Wyatt. Jeffrey David Yang. Tina Wing Tin Yao. Susan Yowery. Jeffrey Young. Christina J. Yu. Joey Yu. Eric Alexander Yup. Adriana Mia Zaldivar. Michael Zhang. Lydia Zhao. Ricky Zhao.
Students, please rise if you are able. College 10, Class of 2020. By virtue of the authority vested in me by the Regents and the President of the University of California, I now confer upon you the degree of Bachelor of Arts or Sciences as appropriate, with all of the rights and privileges thereto pertaining. You may now move your tassels from right to left, signifying the conferral of your degree. Graduates, you accomplished much in your time at UC Santa Cruz, and despite the current challenges, I know that great things lie ahead for you. You leave us now as Banana Slug alumni, but we hope that you will keep in touch. Please stay safe, stay well, and stay connected. Congratulations and good luck.